Hey guys, such a Warmonger here, and you're watching 3 versus 3 Eastern Fortress. This is a player versus player scenario. East team, players 1, 2, and 3, versus West team, players 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so the objective of the game is to reach 1,500 victory points. The way you get victory points are capturing these monuments. So each monument gives you +2 victory points every 15 seconds, except the center monument gives you +3 victory points every 15 seconds. Now, I am showing you these monuments because the way Age of Empires works is once um, this building is captured, it's going to revert back to the player color. See? I mean, the player architecture style. So, kind of janky in the replay, but in game, it's always going to stay in that architecture. So, same thing happens to this one. So that's kind of weird, but whatever. It's still a pretty game when you're in the game itself. I am gonna try to not over explain all of the mechanics. I'll just try to show the ones that are important. I am going to also revert back into the non-capture age game, just their base game, when I think certain things, important things are happening. So, this is something I do want to show. I want to show in game. So, okay. So you can see that when you're in the game, you have this area right here that you will always see, and it will show you how many victory points each team has. So right now we're pretty much even because we both have 2 monuments on each side. So each team has this one, the northeast, this one, the southeast, and the west team has this one, southwest, and this one, northwest. Now the northern victory points, monuments, they're locked away by these gates. These gates used to not be here, but I kind of wanted to show that you can build gates here. You know, because there's a lot of non-buildable area in this map. For example, this massive desert, and I can show this in Capture Age. So all of this desert area, non-buildable. And all of this marsh/ice area, also non-buildable. And then all of the places near the monuments, like this little town area, also non-buildable. This. And then everything inside the town itself, also non-buildable. So it is interesting. Makes for more intense, decisive engagements as opposed to like grinding a whole bunch of units and sending them in lines to each other. So we got player 2 Teal. This is Squidness. He's working on opening up the northern monument for his team. At the same time, we've got Incisus is a green player working on this southern gate. You can see that these crossbowmen, they're very slow firing, and this guy got damaged. Just because in this game you have friendly fire. You can kill your own men, so be careful. These crossbowmen are very slow firing, but they are armor piercing. It's what makes them really good. So personally, if I can train crossbowmen, I would train crossbowmen over archers. Now you might be talking about why I'm talking about the crossbowmen versus archers. For certain factions, you have to choose between sets of units. So we've got a mirror matchup over here. Actually, we had an engagement. Both sides are Western Kingdoms. So I'm pretty sure that Squidness lost the scout. And now he's gonna lose these swordsmen too. I'm gonna switch back to in-game. Alright. So, this is talking about Night Has Fallen. So, you can see that on the top right of the screen, it also not only shows the points per team, but it also shows the time of day. And which day it is. So, it's the first day at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. is when sunset comes, and then I think it's 5 a.m. where the sun rises. So it's just basically each hour is 1 minute, so it's 8 minutes later. The sunset is gonna rise again. Now we got an engagement. Squidness is trying to control the northern monument. Now we got a mirror matchup, so these guys, it's basically a numbers game at this point. Okay, so how does routing and morale work? Because it keeps messaging us. Well, basically, it detects if a unit is dying. Okay, and there's like 3 flanks. There's a center flank, there's the eastern flank, and the western flank. If you look at my mouse cursor, basically when you cross the river, and so the east team has crossed the river with these two guys, right? When you cross the river, then you are susceptible to morale, but only if you have less than 80 units in the flank. So if you have 30 dying units, well, let me re-explain that. Each time a unit dies, and let's pretend that you're Squidness, right? Each time a unit dies, then you get -1 morale. And the weird thing about this is, if you have 2 units dying at the same time, that still counts as only 1 unit dying at the same time. So each time a unit dies, that's -1 morale. But each time any enemy player unit dies, so like orange, red, and gray, if any of their units die, then you gain morale. So if you think about it, it's easier to gain morale than to lose morale if you're under 80 units. So it's very helpful if you play with your allies, because you only lose morale when your own men die, but you gain morale if any of the enemy units die. So the reason why I implemented morale in the first place is to give a defender's advantage and to encourage decisive engagements over like grinding units again. So everything is tailored towards trying to make sure we have decisive engagements with large armies or balls of men, not lines. That's how I implemented it. That's and I think it's working out pretty well. So Teal, he's obviously losing, but he hasn't broken yet. But his morale is probably low. But because he's killed so many men, you know, he's gained some morale. You can see these archers are running away from this one guy. Because every unit, almost every unit that's ranged has a minimum range now. The way I did that, the reason I did that was to try to avoid, you know, overpowered range units, like, and make it more realistic. So we got green attacking into gray, and I am the gray player right here. But because of defender's advantage, their morale is, you know, came into play. So green doesn't have enough men to even run away. Doesn't even have enough men to fall back. Cool thing about morale is it resets if you lose, if you go above 80 units or you leave the flank entirely, then it resets, so you don't have to worry. Alright, so why does green only see green and teal only see teal? Well, at nighttime, you can only see your own units, and most units have a most units have not a lot of line of sight. I do find it interesting though that they're able. So this is the actual line of sight that I would expect. I don't know why there's this massive area that green can see. That must be some sort of a Age of Empires 2 bug. Another way you can circumvent nighttime is by hiring these Hashashin, which are the only units in the game that can see at night. So they're very helpful. See if anything else is interesting. So dawn is approaching, so it's almost 5 a.m. Insis actually has a very good strategy here that I didn't even know he was doing, because I'm the gray player. I didn't know he was using Hashashin to not only tank shots but also scout at nighttime, so he could reveal line of sight for his crossbowman. So you got a big engagement in the north. Orange versus teal. Similar units. Now you can see that these arrows are not really hitting these orange guys. It's because there are buildings in the way. So in this map, buildings actually block projectiles. Ooh, that was a... wanted to kill high value targets. I mean, that's what crossbowmen are really good at, because they have armor piercing damage. So they're very good at killing high value targets, because these units cost a lot of gold. Unfortunately, Genoese crossbowmen are slow. That's their big weakness. I mean, they have to carry these large Provis shields. Their advantage is that they are immune to armor-piercing damage themselves. And they have very high pierce armor. Now, you might be annoyed that your flank is your morale is low. I patched that in the latest version. I also patched, it's not blue that routed, it's teal. So his morale was so low that now all of his men are running away. That's how it worked. Got green holding the south. So the way, when units run away in the flank, they run all the way back to this area, and then one by one, each unit is given to one of their players. So they're going to be evenly distributed between these three players, green, blue, and teal. All of these units are running away. Alright, what's happening here? We've got blue, who decided to go the light cavalry route. Except he's not really utilizing them properly. Fine. And you notice the center, I didn't notice this, but the center is already controlled by the east team. The way you try to capture the center is in your support tent. So this is a support tent. There's a one-time cost of 5,000 wood and 5,000 food. And then if you do that, you will purchase the center. And then this whole area is going to be yours. So what I've done is I built 2 trebuchets on the field. The villagers build these on the field. Okay. So, Steel is making a lot of cheap units. Now this is something I'm not sure he should be doing. Let's take a look at Teal's resources. So he has 1,700 gold. But instead of spending his gold on better units, he's deciding to just spam low quality swordsmen, which are always going to lose to these guys. So these guys are very powerful compared to the low quality swordsman. So you just have to be careful with what you spend your food on. Okay, don't. Oh, now he's running away, but there's no one to run away, they all died. The guys he just made are running away again. They shouldn't be spamming so many low quality swordsmen. I think that's a big mistake. Now look at all these guys. They've been... See that? So this guy goes to blue. Now they're like they're kind of clogging up the supply routes, which is the problem, actually. Not only that, Age of Empires has a current bug where the pathing of villagers and trade carts is bad. That's unfortunate also. Alright, let's see what's happening. Blue is sending some units to raid the center. This guy's a very cheap guy. He came from the market. I mean, these guys have to run away from these 2 guys. Got an engagement in the center. I don't know why blue is attacking here. Now, he must be used to base AoE, because in base AoE you could just run around with a big army of range units. In this game, you have to keep them supported because of the minimum range and the very slow attack speed. I mean, it's like real life. You can't just make a pure army of archers. Even England, when fighting France and, you know, Agincourt and Pointers and Crécy, they didn't have pure archers. They had like melee units supporting them and making sure their flank was protected. And green is making a play towards this monument again. Because I hear a mangonel. Where's the Oh, here it is. Mangonels are good. I guess you could technically use them to kill high-value targets, but they're better against structures. You could also kill high-value buildings, like if he knew where these tents were. He'd kill those. I corrected this. It's not actually the center, it's his west flank that's close to breaking. And it's also not teal that he's talking about, it's actually green. He's crossing the river again. And that was the right move because his morale was very low.
Yes. Yes.
Now we've got the West team ready to make a massive assault into the center to try to take it back because we can see that the East team is starting to get away. Getting towards 200 points ahead, which is dangerous. So we want to take the center back. And teal, once again, spamming just regular swordsmen. And these, like, they just can't deal as well with the high value, you know, gold units, okay? Now he's running away again because he lost too many men. Like, you have to think about this, Squidness. That's the issue. That's the issue with, I can see now why you're frustrated. It's because, Squidness kept making just pure swordsmen. Just not even making men from the command tent, or support tent, or even taverns. I guess he did make, some Genoese crossbowmen from the taverns. But that's it. He's just trying to rely on very, very weak. Not only that, but like these urban militias are like some of the worst units in the game. They're basically emergency units. Now you saw that this used to be yellow, but it's purple now because when you have 15 units beside these structures, they change ownership to your allied player. So if you look at this, these are against the West team now, but once 15 units are there, they change colors. So it's basically capturing towers. You don't necessarily have to just destroy towers all the time. You can capture them too. Of course you can have the option of destroying them also. So I'm the gray player and I'm deciding I would like to capture this whole fortress. I've got gold units are gonna massacre these guys. Now we are taking over the whole fortress. So all that's left is the center, the citadel itself. That's all that's left. Now these blue guys actually can make short work of these swordsmen. That's why it's very important to keep your gold units alive. Even though there's a lot of swordsmen here, these Templar Knights, they're gonna do a good job. Now the spearmen are gonna counter them though, and our own Teutonic Knights. Now Teal is sending some more. I only said it was balanced, by the way, because I didn't know what was happening all over the battlefield. But like Teal keeps sending these very low quality swordsmen. It's very sad. And then these guys are not very mobile. They're gonna get slaughtered. Oh my gosh, it's a massacre. So, the West team has taken the fortress back. Look at the north. Got red. Now he's raiding teal over here. Now this is the right move. Pikemen counter these guys fairly well. So he's forcing red to run. But these guys are running away. I think Squidness, you really should have tried other units in other tents. Like, I see that you have a sport tent. You have a lot of gold. You have a command tent. So, I think that's just too bad. Now green, let's take a look at green. It's nighttime, so let's see what green can see at night. He keeps trying to get this this point. I'm not sure, because he does know that this is my main camp. So I'm going to be able to reinforce much faster, and then in the long run, if he ends up below 80 units, his morale is going to start kicking in. Not sure this is the right... I think the right move would be like trying to hold the south as green and taking the center back somehow, or somehow helping the north and taking the north. Now this is kind of a scary big army. It's tailored towards powerful cavalry, so that's unfortunate. I think he's trying to open though. What's he trying to do? I think he's realizing that these crossbowmen are not as fast firing. This is kind of a good move. He's actually against archers. Archers have a higher angle of attack, so their projectiles go over buildings better than crossbowmen. Crossbowmen's arc, like firing arc, is much straighter, so they hit buildings much more often. Red is raiding blue and teal right now. There's a good reason to raid things. It's like the supply carts. Oh my god, what? Guys, it's forever stuck. It's actually pissing me off. These supply carts provide food. Also, why are they stutter stepping? That's also super annoying. These guys are not stutter stepping. It's actually a pretty big bug. Microsoft has to fix that. Like, this guy's stuck too. Oh. Anyway, what was I talking about?
Yes. Yes.
Alright, we got a slightly bigger engagement here. More gold units versus gold units. Game is effectively over just from how I'm looking at the even though the West team is still less, you can see that green and teal are losing too much and their food is very low. Let's see what teal's gold is. He's finally spending his gold. Actually, he's spending his gold on mangonels though. I'm not. And oh, knights. He's finally building knights. He's got a charged attack on these knights. Here. Oh, red. Made some urban militia. Really weak. Puny guys. But they're useful in certain circumstances. They're good for emergency defending this area and trying to buy time for more powerful units to come. But, goodness. These mangonels are really better at killing buildings. Should have spent his gold on like this kind of stuff a long time ago. I mean, this is a fairly powerful group. These will definitely kill like weak units pretty fast. They're also cheaper than the cavalry. And they train faster. That's why you would make them. Red? He's saying, why not send these guys and see what's going on here? Out pretty well. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, so Gray. I'm using shield wall because I noticed there's a lot of ranged units. So these guys, when you're using shield wall, and then these commands are coming from the command tent. So when you use shield wall, you also become immune to ranged, to armor piercing damage. So, and your pierce armor goes really high. And these guys are surrounded. Oh, he deleted them. Squidness just gave up. This is interesting. I'm not sure how he built here. It's supposed to be non-buildable. I should double check that. Okay, so red holding this southeast monument, trying to cut supplies off. Probably gonna lose it. Oh my gosh! Look at all these gold cavalry. I mean, the counter to this, if you're low on money, would just be pikemen and crossbowmen. That's it. Like, crossbowmen are armor piercing, pikemen have bonus damage versus cavalry. I would say that these types of knights, they can take 3 ranged attacks before they start taking damage. So you saw that? He's getting ranged attack. So that's the special thing about these guys. It's like he's hardly taking damage at all. Alright, so what's going on here? Nothing really. Going on up here. Pikemen. Not gonna kill these guys. This is a big group. Come out. Now, is that a bug? Player blue's east flank. I think that's a bug. I don't think that was meant for blue. Alright. Let's put this in, see if we can set this to a faster speed. I think at this point we can watch on, what do you call it, Capture H, because there's pretty much almost over this game. You got, I mean, see the power of gold units? I mean, I guess there's a lot of them, but gold units are really good. So try to save, once you start getting gold, try to spend it on gold units if you can. Now red, for some reason, doesn't see any range units, but has his men on shield wall mode, which makes him slow. So I'm telling him he shouldn't be on shield wall mode. Now this is it. This is all they needed to do to kill all of these really expensive gold units. Is a bunch of pikemen, a bunch of spearmen. That's a lot of gold down the drain. That's a lot of gold down the drain. I mean, they're technically still winning, but it's not very cost effective.
Yes.
Now they're just running. Now you got this big group. I mean, just look. He's finally like killing more than he's losing. Like all of these like cheap guys, they're dying fairly quickly to the expensive gold sergeants and the expensive gold like knights. They're slaughtering Red's units. They really are. But Red is in his own side of the river, so morale doesn't come into play. And now here I come to the rescue with my own gold units. I mean, I lose a few. But these like foot knights and foot sergeants are no joke. But the cavalry is just stronger. But I've lost a few gold cavalry myself. What's going on here? The Red basically lost all of his gold units here, finally. Still has some guys here. What's going on? Mangonels. Oh boy. Trying to run them away. Orange playing more defensively, which is pretty good tactic, honestly, if you want to actually win the game. He keeps sending cheap guys, though. Now these like foot knights, these really good foot knights, they have a charged attack. And he's retreating. The morale is like, fudge that. We are getting out of here. They just lost too many very quickly on this flank. Ooh, this is actually a good tactic, Squidness. He's slaughtering these archers. He has attack ground. He should keep going, keep going. Guess he's scared that someone's gonna come. Oh boy. See these, I mean, they're mainly used against buildings, these mangonels. They can, like, anything clumped up, they can still kill fairly well. You guys are running away. What else is happening? Got Red's last few units finally dying. Finally got their monuments back. Might be too little too late though. Let's go back inside and see what the score is. Yeah, only about 150 points away from victory. Blue is trying to go for the South Monument. I guess he's realizing he wants to, like, not lose. Although 200 points, unless you do something very drastic and capture all, like, the north, the center, and the south, 200 points is almost too late. Unless you're already, like, maybe also, like, 1200 points. No, this might be too late. I'm pretty sure it is. And they didn't even capture the north, so this is too little too late. I think blue is gonna be able to take it south. I believe. Especially with this many units. He did. Oh, no, not yet. Where did blue get all of this money? Oh my gosh, blue had all of this food and gold this whole time. Wow. Didn't expect that. Blue finally took the south. With a massive amount of, like, cheap units again. But only about 60-something points away. Wow. A massive way. What are these guys doing here? Well, we've got another engagement from green. I could see why you would just feel like making these cheap units because
Yes.
you have the most of them, right? They come from your levy tents. Oh, what's happening? Routed again. Oh, this guy routed. Oh no. Yeah, I came with some of my own heavy infantry. Caused that one guy to rout. Oh, these guys are stuck on Gaia objects. That's another Age of Empires bug. Super annoying. Orange slaughtering these cheap units again? A lot going on, actually. I'm not sure why they kept on pushing this monument. That's what's curious. Red's doing some last minute raiding. There's like basically about to lose. I think this might be it. All right. So we've got me, such a warmonger. Red is the MVP because he killed the most. Lost a lot, but didn't matter. Still won the game. Witness, not as bad as I thought it would be, actually. Only lost by 150 units, but still killed a decent amount. Everybody on the enemy side did pretty good for losing with their kill-death ratio. Let's see, anything else important? Yeah, you only need about 30 to 40 villagers. Though, for some reason, Orange made 55, which is on the high end. Like, almost too many. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's too many. Because they're only for wood. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.